All right, let's continue now to the end times, the actual end times, what we think of as the end of the world. Read Matthew 24, verse 23. Then if anyone says to you, lo, here is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. False Christs and false prophets will arise and show great signs and wonders and lead people astray, possibly even the elect. Chrysostom says that this refers to the Antichrist, and yes, it does, because we are told that he will do signs and wonders. And we have to be very careful not to be deceived. The Lord says, lo, I have told you beforehand. Don't listen to false prophets. Don't follow false Christs. I have told you beforehand. In other words, he's telling us not to pay attention to these people. We are not to follow people, no matter how sincere they seem, no matter how holy they seem, no matter how many people there are who are following them. We should not listen to people who tell us that they know when the end is near or how this is going to take place or anything of the sort. And it's very tempting. A lot of people are extremely fascinated by this idea, and they want to believe that somebody knows when the end will come. And I think that's maybe why they follow these people. Here's verse 26. So if they say to you, lo, he is in the wilderness, do not go out. If they say, lo, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the body is, there the eagles will be gathered together. So when he talks about it in the wilderness, there was a certain messianic expectation that the Messiah would suddenly appear in the wilderness. I think we talked about this in the Gospel of John. And it was one of the reasons why people were fascinated by John the Baptist, that he would be suddenly emerge out of some obscurity. But here the Lord is saying that when he comes, it will be visible to all. It will be obvious to all. It will be unmistakable. And he makes this comparison to eagles or vultures gathering. In other words, where there's like a dead body of an animal or something, and then the vultures or the eagles are circling around it. They're circling so that they can go down and start eating it. That's an unmistakable sign. Everybody knows what that means. And so his point is that the coming of Christ will be very obvious. Let us continue. Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear the Son of Man in heaven. All the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branches become tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see all these things, you know that he is near at the very gates. Now, what will be the signs of the time? These are apocalyptic signs. These are common apocalyptic signs. But I can tell you that if you see the stars falling from the sky and the moon and the sun going dark, etc., then you can be kind of worried that maybe Jesus is coming again, or maybe be excited that Jesus is coming again. But his point is that the signs will be obvious. There will be cosmic signs of the end. We have not seen that. Okay, we will not see that until the end. So the Son of Man will come. He will be seen. All the tribes of the earth will mourn. They're going to regret him. The people who don't believe will regret him. And of course, we know that everyone is going to see Christ when he comes. And this is something which seemed impossible to understand. How was this possible? But today, we have smartphones, don't we? We see things instantly. And things are posted on YouTube and on TikTok and other platforms immediately. So the idea that everybody could experience the same thing around the world at the same time seemed impossible, but not so much anymore. So it is possible that everyone will see the Lord when he comes. I don't know if it will happen in a mystical way or a spiritual way, or simply because of technology, we will all see the Lord when he comes. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's certainly something which is physically possible today, which might not have been possible, or something seemed possible even 10 years ago. And what's going to happen? The people who do not believe, they will mourn. and they will see him coming in glory in the clouds of heaven. This description of the coming of the Son of Man is taken from the book of Daniel. Jesus makes the same claim at his trial. And when he comes, he's going to send the angels to gather the elect. This again is something which we see commonly in apocalyptic texts in the Old Testament. And what does this mean? This shows us that here we have the image of judgment. Everybody's going to be gathered together. We are not gearing up for anything like what is commonly described of as the rapture. Again, he's telling us that when we see these things happening, it's going to be obvious. I've had people tell me that they came from a tradition, a Christian tradition, in which they would, read about events like in the Middle East, what's happening, this earthquake, this tsunami, this fire, and they're trying to figure all of that into the book of Revelation. When the end comes, my dear brothers and sisters, it will be obvious to everyone. That's what the Lord is saying here. You shouldn't be trying to decipher the signs of the times, because people have been doing that for their whole lifetimes. Oh, Jesus is coming back very soon, very soon, very soon. And they've been wrong. They've all been wrong. So relax, okay? Stop trying to do that. It doesn't work. When the Lord comes back, it will be obvious to everyone. This is why he uses the image of the fig tree. This point is that the tree loses all of its leaves in the wintertime. And when it begins to sprout buds and green leaves in late spring, you know that it's about to produce fruit. It's a reliable sign. It's predictable. It's obvious. This is what he's trying to say. When you see this, the obvious signs, then you know that the Lord is near.